Okay, let's choose up. I'll take Jamal and Tutal. You can have Chubbs and Skippy. Let's go. My ball.
Okay. But you got skins.
Not a good negotiator? You don't have to be a good negotiator at McCarthy Chevrolet. McCarthy guarantees the lowest prices on a new Chevy or we'll pay you $10,000. We guarantee there's no need to shop anyplace else. McCarthy Chevrolet, I-35 and Santa Fe, Olathe.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Midwest #1 weekly motorsports show, Track Talk, on the RacinBoys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. Once again, here's Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on RacinBoys Radio. Scott and Kirk. Appreciate everybody following us over. Now, obviously, we have a little error that we've made in the transition with our website here in the last week. If most people were paying attention, turn that music down there in each second now. If most people noticed that we've made some subtle changes on the website, we forgot to get the chat room. I don't know how we oversaw that, but the chat room not on the video page. But the chat room is still up and running, and I am going to stay over on the chat room and not look at the video. So if you guys want to hang out with us and talk on the chat room, I will be following what you're doing. So maybe you close one browser, listen to us, and hang out on the chat room. And joining us now on the show is the 2012 A-Mod champion at Lakeside Speedway, longtime friend of the RacinBoys, Tim Carrick. How you doing, Timmy?
Good, man. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing good. Just moseyed on back from the PRI show. What a waste of time that was, brother. Let me tell you right now.
Well, I heard they combined them next year. Steam about them.
Yep, yeah. It's going to be better. You know, the Indy deal is just kind of kicked the whole Orlando deal's butt. You know what I mean? The people that we want to see are in Indy, and the people that are tuners and drag racers and engine builders, those are the people down in Orlando. So, yeah, I think it's going to be better. Tim, congratulations on picking up. How many championships was that make this year? Do you know?
I didn't, but obviously my mom told me it's 18. So, somebody texted me the other day, started asking me, like, don't make me go through that crap. So it's like it took a while to get the 18th one, but we had some bad luck last couple of years, and that's the way things go, man.
When did you pick up the first one? Do you remember what year that was?
Oh, hell.
Come on now.
83, I think,
83.
at Riverside, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I thought the sponsors were going to come calling to me then.
Right. This is easy, right? I can do this. Everybody's going to want to spend money on me. So.
Yeah, exactly. That's like my neighbor kid. He his first time racing ever. I mean, he just got out of high school. You don't realize how the B-Mod class at Lakeside, and he's Rookie of the Year, you know. And after the first race, and I seen like there's 50-some B-Mods, I was like, he's in trouble. So
Right, yeah.
He ends up every time. He went through a month there. He was racing with a bunch of old A-Mod drivers. I said, dude, you ain't doing too bad now.
Right. Well, you know, I remember when I started racing, and I only raced limit schedule, you know, till 88, 89. And I remember telling myself, man, if I could just win one A-Main, my life would be complete, you know?
Yeah.
But the problem is, after you win that first one, then you want to win that second one and the third one. And I'm sure it's the same. I'm sure it's the same way with the championships, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Oh, it totally is. I mean, you know, and as you get, I mean, I turned 50 this year, and as you get older, it's just like, how much time do you want to devote to 2 nights a week versus you know, I mean, I like Racing Valley, but I didn't like the way things were going down there, just as far as just the way, basically, in general, overall, and I just chose to bounce back and forth, you know, since Earl ain't paying the money like anybody else. Nobody else is paying the money like Earl did.
Right.
For me to get tuned into one track on Saturday night. So I don't know. I mean, I like the biggest thing we do. We go out to win races, and if you win races, then the championships will come. So I mean, but then you got obviously you got to finish every race.
Right.
Jimmy Johnson's a proven example of that too. You know, so.
Right. Well, let me ask you, how old was your dad when he quit racing? Did he actually quit before he
I
passed?
think he never did quit racing.
Right.
I could tell you, I got a picture of me jacking up. Remember them old panel fire engine trucks?
Oh,
my
yeah.
My dad started racing when I was 3 years old. It's kind of like I just been around it, and that's all I really know, you know. So, and now that I have 2 girls, which, by the way, Casey Boyer had his first girl of the Boyer family.
Right.
Is not that girl in trouble?
Oh my goodness.
the first Boyer in Chris Boyer's life, other than Jana. So.
No, you know who's really in trouble is their daughter's first boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Well, then Andy, he's about ready to bust out a girl too. So they got 2 of them in less than a month. You know, so
how about that?
Yeah. So, but anyway, 2 girls I have, it defines who they are. You know, I mean, they're not in sports or not doing anything else. I mean, my oldest is going to K-State, and totally. I mean, racing is their family, just like everything else. You know, I mean, that's who they know and that's who they are. So. At her high school, she defined my youngest in 9th grade by being a racing daughter. So,
Tim, what are you going to do? You know, you're like me. I've got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And I think we had our first daughter about the same time. What are you going to do? I didn't have anybody to hand my stuff down to.
No, I know. Here's what I see. Last night I watched that NASCAR deal.
Yeah.
All them bastards started racing when they was 2. Hell, I started watching when I was 2. You know, I think we get our grandsons, dude. We get them in it when they're shoot. You know, we'll get a race car around the carpet in the front room first. You know.
Now no grandbabies yet though.
No.
Yeah.
No. They got to graduate school.
Now, how old's your oldest?
Oh God help me, she'll be 21 at the Chili Bowl, Scott.
Wow.
Yeah. She's coming down too, she said.
Oh, is that right? You know, my daughter Tori made it her first Chili Bowl appearance last year. She loved it. She said she's coming back.
She kind of had a silver spoon in her mouth. She got to ride around the pits of the golf cart with the radio mic in her hand.
Well, you know.
I hear you. I know.
It's kind of the perk, you know what I mean? But anyway, well, it's fun watching them grow up. But, you know, and I know everybody they want grandkids. I know everybody wants that, you know. I'm not in a real big hurry about that, to be honest with you.
No,
I don't know about you.
Because
I all I can see is more money spent, you know, and everything that goes with it. I'm kind of a little tight now in my later years.
Yeah. That happens when you lose half of everything.
Right. Well, I came out on my end, but I'm sorry. I must say I had a good earner in my part. So.
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about your season. We're talking about everything, but let's talk about this year and what would you consider the highlights and the lowlights, and just kind of talk about your season out at Lakeside.
Highlights: start out the year winning races, and lowlight lap car gets the way he raced, tears my car up, and ends up never. After that point, the car was never the same. It just never had to drive it. Had the first of the year, and I can't pinpoint it, but there was back up on the jig. It was bent just a tweak, just ever so slightly. So I didn't finish the year. I mean, it's just like I read a little article on Kelly Earhart's daughter. She said she finished 6th in her last go-kart race and she won the championship. No matter what you do as a racer, when you struggle at the end of the year, it don't feel right, you know. It just being consistent and everything helps out winning the championship. But the biggest thing is you got to finish every race out there because of the competition. Somebody else is just waiting in the wings for you to drop out. But we was a okay top 5 car at the end of the season. There was one point where it was so bad we changed it up, but we got lapped at the end of the season. And in the Jayhawk, we almost got lapped. Yellow flag come out. So, that's not where we're used to running, and it didn't work out to our benefit at the end of the year. So we've already taken measures to fix that. Kelly came down and obviously ran well at the Cap Fed shootout weekend, and we talked and we got things rolling the right way already on that. Well, actually. Both. I pick up a new car here in probably another month. I'm sure I can and we already had the other car stub moved around like we needed to, and straightened up and everything, you know. So I think I'm looking forward to next year now, but at the end of the year, just wasn't happy, you know. Just you go home and there was 5 weeks in a row. We think we found what was wrong, and needless to say, it wasn't it, you know. So, and then you get young kids come along, and they have one bad night, and they want to run into you getting off the track, and you know me, and I don't take that very well. So try struggling for half a season. What are you going to do? Demolish my car?
Right.
So, you know, I mean, that's it is what it is. We just we need big races. We need to shine on, and that's what we build our season on, because the Jayhawk and the Cat Fed weekend, and even when USMTS comes in here, they pay more than a championship does. So
right.
Win races and then you win championships. So, but like everybody said that you're always so far away from beating Clint Boyer's record of 9 or 10 wins. But what people don't realize, he did that. He came out there only 9 or 10 times that year, so he did it every night he was out there. He won, you know. So the winning percentage would never be the same as his, you know. So
right. Well,
he was on that truck still. So
I think what you're saying is nobody wants to end their season on a bad note. You know, you want to have a little momentum when you go to the end of the season. You carry that over the next year. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, just specifically, you talked about that one. Just remind me when that incident was that your car was just never the same after. What was that?
Oh, is in a heat race. We ended up, I was passing some cars, and it ended up a lap car spun out in front of us, and ended up, actually, it's basically ended Mark Schaffman's deal, too, because he didn't.
Oh, I remember I remember that incident.
Yeah,
sure.
So, I mean, he ended up burning up a motor that night. So, but, I mean, it's part of racing. I mean, it's just a shame, you know, just it happens, but it's going to happen. It's not the first time. It won't be the last time something like that happens. You just, no matter what you do, just how something like that can turn the way the season goes, too, you know.
How disappointing was it at the Tom Carrick Memorial?
Oh, yeah, you can only imagine. I mean,
I can't really be honest with you.
No, I mean, it just one lane, muddy. I mean, I got a picture on Twitter. I mean, just somebody sent the picture over. I thought it was a picture of Shryock's car up somewhere other place in town. They go, no, that's a picture of your car at Lakeside after the memorial. So I had to. I don't know, I had to pull it up or send it up somewhere, but I couldn't even tell whose car it was. It was that black. Right. And they actually washed it off right before the feature time. So actually had 4 inches of mud across the nose of the car. That's almost kind of like back in the old Riverside days, Scott.
Yeah.
You know, with the old gumbo. But I mean, and then the bad thing about that deal is, I mean, if they would have rained it out, I could have went back up to Boone and ran the Supernaturals another time, but we didn't do that. And from that point on, it was really downhill after that. I mean, possibility of that race too, you know, so it made it even worse. So I don't know if the car, you know, bouncing on 3 wheels up in the air that night, so it really wasn't the same after that either. So I, you know, I mean, it's a good season. I mean, I know the heat. I mean, last year you get flooded out. Well, you get the heat this year. I mean, fans don't want to come out there and sit in 120-degree weather either, you know, after being in it all day long. So
let me ask you this, Tim. Do you think that television hurt the attendance out at Lakeside last year?
Absolutely. I tell people that. I mean, it's not. I think it does, because people say, well, hell, I'm going to sit home and watch it. Mm-hmm. So, and if it was me as a promoter, I wouldn't do it again. But, I mean, it just, because the fact is, you know, people, I mean, especially with the way the weather was, I mean, it was freaking hot. You know, I mean, you know, there'd be nights that people didn't, I mean, along the rainy nights, you know, I mean, you could see as a driver, you see in the crowd that they're down, and they do. I mean, you know, maybe if the TV wasn't there, that they come out after the sun went down or type deal, you know. So I think it did, but that's just me.
What really struck me, Tim, and you know, the crowds were great at the beginning of the season, and then tailed off as the weather got hot, as you mentioned, television. But once TV ended, the crowds never seem to come back.
I think
for the big races in September.
Is football season started.
Right.
I mean, you know, and I don't. I mean, we ran literally till October 22nd this year, which is way a month longer. I mean, almost a month and a week longer than we normally do. Like the 15th is usually the end, and then we have the Cap Fed shootout. But like I tell people, excuse me, around here, the people on holiday weekends and when school starts, you'll traditionally see the crowd dwindle down at Lakeside. I mean, the other tracks is worse than Lakeside. The short tracks on Saturday nights. Right. But as far as basically back when I was growing up, I mean, they actually ended race seasons back when Labor Day weekend was. Right. You know, I mean, or in Memorial, that was the start and the finish of the deal.
It was usually mid-September. Really, was about as late as you'd see anybody run.
Absolutely, and I mean, the thing of it is, I mean, the guy might be able to throw in a special here and there in October, but I mean, now it's just like anything. I mean, people didn't used to work 7 days a week like we do now. And now they run as long as they can. So thank God for me, we got cold weather comes in that they have to shut down and there's no crowd because I don't know. I got to have a break, no matter what, on something. You know, I mean, I've been the last month doing honeydews around the house, so racing that late in the season. But I mean, you see it too. I mean, up in Iowa and stuff on holiday weekends, the people flock to the racetrack. Around here, they flock to the lake, so you don't have a crowd at the local track. So,
no, I'd agree with that.
You think we ought to go back to the old days where the season opens up in the middle of May and ends up at Labor Day weekend, like it used to be when we were growing up?
Well, yeah, and I think maybe a week or two past or forward. I mean, just at once in a great while. But I mean, you know, those people bone that get a little extra racing in if they want to, you know this is the last night. But I mean, knowing that you had till October 22nd this year, and I see that as a driver, it's like, damn, dude, that's, you know, I mean, I like to get stuff done from September to October around the house that I put off all year long, you know, because I'm racing, you know. So, but I mean, that's what I think. I mean, I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that.
I think we race too long. You know,
I think season's too long.
And you know, especially here, I think that by the end of the season, you know, I raced long enough to know that sometimes my wallet was getting a little thin coming about mid-September, and I'm just trying to limp it along just to get through and get that out of the points deal. Finish in the top 10 or wherever you're at in the points just to get it over with. You know,
that's exactly it, and I see that. I mean, and Staley's a huge. I mean, he tries to do that, you know, down in Texas and stuff, and I think you'll see the USMTS guys more and more. Them guys are not traveling with.
I think they're cutting their schedule back next year too.
Well, they should. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, dude. I mean, they're racing. Well, I know Shryock ain't been racing. But Eric Kirschbaum, his daughter, just had a kidney transplant that runs Shryock. So Madison, so she's doing better now. But I know Shryock stayed home to help out around there on that deal. But and on top of the money they spend, they got it down to a science where they figure out how many laps they make and how much money they spend per lap racing.
Right.
And they got to get that cut down too. You know, I mean, 100 races is way too many. I mean, I don't know how many they got going on now, but and you know I'm not seeing the USRA guys are trying to get more tech officials in there, which they need them. I mean, there's no tech going on a lot of them tracks, and then I don't really particularly care. I mean, we don't need that many USRA tracks around this area because of the fact that, I mean, what they control, and like Johnny Bone ended up in doing a deal down in Humboldt, and he got all the tracks to go around USRA around him, and then after his tire deal debate, he couldn't race any of the track as local.
Oh.
So, you know, and then that's, I mean,
what else is the downfall to USRA? Do you think? I mean, why not have them around more tracks around here? Or
because you got one governing body tell you what you can and can't do. And if you get too many of the tracks around here like that,
they control.
You get the option of IMCA, which is they pay $400 to win up at Mayetta.
It's not really an option.
No, it's not. It's not an option. And I think even certain people around here that griped about bringing IMCA back, I think they're figuring that deal out too. And I'd look at, when Earl shut his doors, last year because of just nobody buying track, whatever, that took away from my racing program. Just because of, you can go down there, you can try stuff. Earl pay. You finish in the top 5 down there is $500, $450 for 5th place down there.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than it pays to win at the IMCA tracks.
Right.
So,
right.
People are foolish. To me, it's not just going racing wherever for AMOD for winning. If you go up and win $200 for feature win, that's not even. It's kind of like winning the championship and you suck at the end of the year. It pisses you off.
Right, right. Same
deal. And that's just the way it is. But ended up, I think the 6 races he's going to run this year, I'll probably be at every one, even though it's on a Sunday. But I'd rather do that than go beat my head against the wall on other nights, and run, different deals going on,
I think it's going to work for him out there, those specials. I think that's...
I do too.
Yeah.
But you get, just like at Heartland Park, that Flowers guy me and Cody ran there one night, and he disqualifies us because he's got a wild hair up his rear end about something, because his deal, he rubs his hand together. He rubs his hand together. Who am I going to disqualify tonight? He thinks he's being a plus for local tracks on doing inspections. You get guys like that. You just like, you know what? If that guy's around, I don't even want to be around where you race at. He gets a kick out of Johnny Bones' deal, and disqualifying Terry Schmidt a couple of times, doing different stuff. I'm not used to people dealing with people like that.
Right.
They're idiots. So I don't care for running for supporting tracks like that, and then you just don't realize how good you got it when you got a stable things. So
Yep.
I hope it works. Just like you said back before. I don't know. We talked about. Even if like before I-70 went defunct, maybe they could have been at every other week track.
Right.
So now it's sitting there growing weeds. So.
Well, and it probably will never.
Be a Donji farm, as far as we know.
No, that thing will never open. Yeah, right. That thing will never open again. I got word that the thieves went in there and robbed everything out of I-70. Did you hear that?
Well, no, I didn't hear that. But
no, they got caught. They actually caught the people that were doing it. You might think something might have happened there, but was told that some people were in there robbing all the copper and the stainless and everything for over a month, and they did catch them out there.
Good.
So, but the thought though is once all that stuff's gone, you rip all the wiring out. It was so slim that I-70 would ever come back anyway. Now it's almost impossible for it to come back. But it's good that I like to see Earl. And let's face it, Earl and I we don't always agree on things. But the fact is, he was good for racing around here. And having Karen and Sam and Alan and those guys kind of ramrod that thing, I think it's going to work good for him. You look at Osborne; it's worked for them specials only, right?
Well, Karen and Sam and all them, they love this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Karen's into it as deep as where do you? People could talk about JD all you want, but you're not going to find anybody that puts up with the BS that he puts up with, and make racing the plus and just keep it where it is. Karen and Sam and Earl and all them guys, they love this stuff.
Right.
That's what it's about. People that love it and are doing it. Would I ever be in that part of it? Possibility later on, but not right now. But I think my deal is if I get after I quit racing, I don't want to spend every Friday and Saturday night, like worrying about oh damn, I got to call the race or not, type deal. You're in that.
I promote. I've done a couple races now, man. I'm telling you, that's a different kind of intense thing. But Tim Carrick would be a hell of a promoter, wouldn't he?
Oh, I think he'd be outstanding.
I don't. No,
you'd be a good one.
Would you do the same as Earl and be rich enough to pay out the kind of purses that Earl
would you be
paid
willing?
out?
No.
Well, here's what I see as a racer. If you and what not people realize, if Lakeside paid the purse that Earl paid, you would have 45 modifieds weekly.
Would you have more people in the stands? Because, see, that's where Earl had his problem. He couldn't sustain the amount of the purse because he didn't have enough people in the stands.
No, and that's, I mean, a lot of it is that he did that out of his pocket.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Because he's a racer at heart.
Yeah.
And just like USMT, people are bragging and going on USMTS coming to Lakeside. Well, not a lot of people know that the kids that usually come out to Lakeside didn't get to go that night. I mean, because their parents ain't gonna pay $20 for kids to get in for a show like that. I mean, I see that side, you know, but I don't know. I mean, here's the bottom line is it's got to pay for itself, and the promoter's got to make money.
There's not many Earl Walls in the world that will underwrite a $100,000 loss every year. I could tell you that, right? No,
and people didn't know how good they had it when I was here. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
So I mean, the racing world is different. I mean, you see it. I mean, if it comes back, hopefully like it was, you know, before the economy went south. So literally, I think. I mean, you know, the sponsors and stuff will come back in. You know, so like Mike McCarthy, they still sponsor your show too.
Sure. Yeah. McCarthy's
Auto Group. I mean, Virotech, and I mean, you know, even your old sponsor, Prax Air guys, jumped back in on me this year. So, you know, how can you, like, I don't know if you watched the hunting stuff, but Keith Mark and Shawn Michaels came back in. They're partnered up with us last 2 years. So, getting sponsors like that, them guys are huge for me. You know, so that's what it needs to happen on other guys too. You know, so I think the B-Mod stuff with the crate engines. I think if crate engines would have been around and is feasible for us back in the 80s, Riverside, that would have been a good deal for a beginner class, other than the ones that get cheated up, you know.
That's the problem with them, you know.
Yeah, well, it is, but I mean, I think like IMCA, they got a good way to check them. You just got to have people that care that can check them every week, you know. I mean, you know, just checking the cams and checking. I mean, they got a. Justin Boney was telling me when they checked Kate's motor up, they got a big old deal that you basically got. Put it in there to check the cam lobe stuff on it. So
the duration is where it's the hardest thing to police, because if they can, it's hard to, you know, figure out the duration. They can do the lift on those camshafts, but I'm hearing that the real trick piece where they trick out these motors and make it difficult for people to tech them is in the duration.
Oh, okay. I got you. So, well, that being said, I mean, you still got to even check for the part that's easiest to check, the lift, you know.
Right.
So I mean,
springs, lift, and stuff.
Yeah, springs. I mean, so I think, I mean, like I said, the neighbor kid next door, Colton, he ended up ran the whole season, and all he did was change his oil every other week, you know. I mean, on his motor. I mean, literally. I mean, if I could, I mean, you didn't have to worry about working on the motor. You just worked on the chassis. So I think, I mean, it's a good deal. I mean, if there's something to, you know, just even like the compact cars where they leave them set at the track, that's not a bad gig. I mean, that way you know people ain't messing with them, you know, and just go out there and drive. That's pretty fun stuff.
Hey, I had to leave my car at Riverside one time. Yeah, because back in the day, now you remember guys doing this, and this was, I think, maybe 78 or something like that. I towed it down there with the tow bar, didn't even have a trailer.
My dad did that too.
Yeah, and got my front bumper ripped off that night. Couldn't take it home. So left it sitting out in front. Went down there and worked on it all week out in front of the racetrack. Those were the days, my friend. You know, I was down at my uncle's down in Florida this last week, and he had a program from several of them from the early '80s, man. And it is so much fun to go back and reminisce of some of the people that raced back in the day, back then.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it is crazy, the people that you forget about that raced in those days, you know?
I know, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's, a lot of them, they're kids, and they got different names. And my dad's so-and-so. I'm like, oh, hell, I raced with your dad.
Well, yeah, like J.J. Sonnenfeld's dad was in there, you know? And
yeah.
and this was like 1982, and then, you know, Roy Hedge. It's just the names, and then you looked at the figure eight with Jay Van Tile and Jim Darling. It was just, it brought back a lot of memories, man. It was really cool. Yeah.
Who's the car lot outside Riverside? Is that where you put your car when you worked on it?
No, actually, I just left it out in front of the gate. But that was Dave Ramsey, I believe. Wasn't that his name?
I don't remember.
Remember Lee? That. Remember Lee and the old guy had the push truck that worked out there?
Yeah, that's who I remember.
Yeah, and did that forever. I mean, right up until right before he passed, that was his thing in life, was to go and push with the old Scout. Remember that? The old International Scout.
Was it green?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what, see, I thought that was his car lot.
Yeah, no, he worked there. He just worked for Dave there, and I think they ended up moving up on North Oak or something. I can't remember, but anyway, those were the days. Memories.
They were, dude.
Yeah, right.
Folks, well, yeah, that's pretty bad when you talk about that.
Right. It's hard to believe that's 30 years ago, Tim.
I know, right? That's terrible.
Before I let you go, you started off the season running at Valley on a weekly basis, then you switched over and started running at Heartland Park, Topeka. Just kind of talk about that a little bit. The last part of the season where you ran at Heartland Park every Saturday night.
Well, we ran up there till Flowers gets wild hair up his butt, and
right.
Just because of that, my dust cover to cover my in my air filter. Well, and after that, I struggled, and then you got Brenda yelling at people on the PA. Everybody out. Terry Wanlin does a good job up there.
Who was yelling at people on the PA?
Oh, that Brenda Culver girl.
Oh.
She drives you nuts, especially if you got my PA right over your trailer. But ended up, I just, it was, the season was getting too long. That was plumb up to, I think that was Labor Day weekend or something. After that, I that car really, I had a ball motor in there, Scott Crystals, and he ended up in the John Baker to finish the year out. So I just it was a good time. I ended up selling that car to Tim Lewis up at, in Illinois, and ended up, I just kind of raced Friday nights and just try to, as we raced so late, I just started doing my honeydews on Saturdays instead of making a night. Just like Tim Powell said, he says, you don't realize how much time you don't have for racing until after you try to go back and man, how do I ever have time for racing?
Well, I know it. It's the same thing for me. I don't know how that works anymore. I don't know how I could. Tim, how long do you keep doing it?
To race, I like the track. I like the asphalt deal, but it was rubbering down every week, so it just kind of took the fun and racing out of it. So, but anyway, what's that, Scott?
How much longer, Tim, do you do it?
Oh, I don't see an end in sight unless something, as long as I can. It drives me. It just keeps me active and young and in shape. I don't, you're only as old as you feel type deal. And I truly, how old is Gene Claxton, 85 or?
He's got to be pushing 90.
He's a lot older than you.
Right.
I think.
My dad still tells me about, not still, but he always told me about when he was 14 years old, he came out to Riverside with no firewall in the race car.
Who, Claxton did?
Yes. Ask him about it.
Wow. So, he's been a great ambassador.
I don't see him quitting anytime soon either.
No, hell no.
What would him and Wilma do?
He's a freaking bull horse, dude.
Right.
He's an ox.
No doubt. That's the best way to put it. Well, Tim, congratulations winning your 18th championship this year out at Lakeside, and it's going to be a big night out there at the Central Auto Racing Boosters Banquet. I'll be out there, and
looking forward to a new venue, a new location. So
be good.
I'm changing it up a little bit.
I wish we were still down though. I love Marriott. I want I stay at them. That's all I do because of Christina Smith. But man, I just used to love the Finnegan's Hall, man.
Oh yeah, Finnegan's Hall. My memories are freaking down at the Armory on 18th Street.
Oh yeah, there too. Yeah,
that was pretty wild.
Forever,
you might have to pack some heat if you go over there now, though.
Yeah, they still have things over there. So
okay,
where you bring your own, right?
Yeah, BYOG. So.
Bring your own gun, right? I got it. Picked up on that. Tim, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it, and always taking the time. It's always cool to have you on.
Thanks, brother. I'll see you guys.
All right, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
There's Tim Carrick, 2012 A-Mod Modified champion at Lakeside Speedway, and a good guy, and never a dull moment when you're hanging out with Tim Carrick. And one of the great ambassadors of our grassroots racing area for now 30 years.
Well, that was interesting. I remember the wreck that he was talking about in the heat race, that his car really wasn't the same after that. That was on the front straightaway when Mark Chapman was involved in an accident. I remember that late in the year, and I didn't know at the time, but now that you think about it, I was there that night, but he didn't run well after that. But I didn't put two and two together and put it at that incident.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you how much that you can knock one of these cars off now, and trying to get it back.
Right.
Is that's how sophisticated these cars are now.